Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to another episode of the Reflective Parenting Podcast. Are you someone that wishes they were more playful as a parent? I know that I can relate to that. And in today's episode, I'm going to share my own experiences, some research, and we're going to look back at some past episodes with Tina Payne Bryson and with Amy that I just had a couple weeks ago that talked about play. And we're going to just reflect on it together. It's just you and I. It's a solo episode. And what I wanted to do in the summer episodes is take the time to review some of the past episodes that marked me and pull out some studies and my own personal experiences. And I'm going to make the episodes shorter. They should be around 20 minutes so that you could, go on with your summer, not worry about missing an episode, and stay up to date and also review some of the past episodes. I hope you enjoy this. This will be for the rest of the summer on different topics. And if there is a question that you have or a topic that you would like me to cover, you can click the link in the show notes. That is the speak pipe. So it's a 1-minute audio that you can record, and I will be adding them to the Reflective Parenting Podcast. You can actually send me a review if you've been listening for a while. If you just want to say hi, you could record a question, you could record a challenge. If you follow me on Facebook, or Instagram, I will be posting the upcoming episodes so that you can talk to me about what you experienced and you could come and join me on the conversation. I'll post your 1-minute audio. So you can do that. I'm trying this out for fun this summer. I want to bring you more into this podcast. So hopefully you can be part or feel like you are part of this podcast and join the conversation with me. If you are new to this podcast, welcome. My name is Cindy Hovington. I have a Ph.D. in neuroscience. I am a mom of 3 from Montreal, Canada. My kids are 6, 8, and 10. And my goal through this podcast and the company that I founded called Curious Neuron is to make sure that we are taking care of you, that you feel nurtured as a parent. There's so much out there in terms of parenting advice, and it's all about what to say to our kids, how to show up in those moments. That's important. But I want to do something different. I want a parent to feel that they matter, to help build their confidence, because so many parents that I meet inside Curious Neuron and our membership called the Reflective Parent Club, so many parents struggle with feeling competent as a parent. So to me, that means that although we're reading all of these books, listening to all of these podcasts, learning how to show up for our kid, if we can't show up for ourselves in that moment, all of that doesn't matter. We still feel incompetent, or we still feel that we are not confident to say what we need to say. But that's because we haven't learned how to show up for ourselves. And so if we can do that through this podcast and Curious Neuron and all the content I put out there, if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, then everything you learn from us will help you show up more confidently in that moment. And guess what? You'll figure out what to say to your kid because you'll try a few things. Some things will work, some things won't, but you won't be as hard on yourself when it doesn't work. You'll say, okay, let's move on to the next. And that, to me, is a reflective parent. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the Tannenbaum Open Science Institute as well as the McConnell Foundation for supporting this podcast. Without them, it would not be possible. And so thank you. And also thank you to you, the listener. Make sure that you've clicked on that subscribe button. And if you haven't done so yet, please take a little moment, a few seconds, maybe a minute, to leave a rating and a review for the podcast. If you do so, send me an email at info@curiousneuron.com. I'll send you a little something. I have some PDFs that we have on our website that I sell, and let me know. Maybe you want a discount for the Reflective Parent Club. Let me know. But send me an email, info@curiousneuron.com. It has been a few weeks now that Curious Neuron has become official partners with pediatric clinics in 3 different countries. And so if you are listening to this and you run a clinic, a pediatric clinic, whether it's a psychology clinic, medical clinic, OT, PT, SLP, speech language pathologist, any pediatric clinic, what we've learned through the work that we do at Curious Neuron is while you're supporting the child, no one is supporting the parent. And so if we can be there with you while you're doing the work that you need to do with the child, we are there to support the parent through our program, the Reflective Parent Club, by helping them build their self-awareness, learn how to control their emotions in front of their child, especially if it's a child who's struggling with something. It can be really easy for us to lose patience more often or to feel dysregulated more often. And so we want to be there for the parent. If you are a parent and your child is at a pediatric clinic for just even their medical clinic, suggest Curious Neuron to them. We have posters that we send. There's no charge to the clinic, and it gives you access to our free upcoming webinars and our free and our content that we create for the clinics, and you get a discount code for the Reflective Parent Club. All you need to do is send me an email at info@curiousneuron.com. If you are a patient and you want me to connect with your clinic, connect me with an email, someone that I can reach out to and send them the info that they need. All right. So let's move on to today's topic. Oh, and by the way, regarding those free monthly webinars, this is new for Curious Neuron. It's going to be for our partners, our clinic partners, but the first one, maybe two, I will open up to everybody. So if you want to join that free webinar, the next one is July 28th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be about how to prepare your child for kindergarten. So even if your child is 3, you could still benefit from listening to this because it's going to focus on social emotional learning. You could click the link in the show notes that says free parenting webinar, and you can join, and it's all free. So I hope you enjoy it. All right, let's move on to today's topic. I am the kind of parent, I'm confessing, I'm not that playful. I love playing with my kids, but when it comes to being playful, it is not natural to me. And so I need to be a little bit more aware of this and mindful so that I can try to be more playful in certain moments. And I do. I'm going to give you some of my tips that I've been using. My husband, on the other end, is just naturally playful. And that's okay. I used to feel guilty around that. And I still have moments once in a while where I feel like, oh, why can't I be cool like that? But I'm not. Look, I have a Ph.D. in neuroscience. By definition, I'm a nerd. And so being playful is not something that comes natural. I do different things with my kids. Obviously, I homeschool them. And so the creativity around that, developing activities for them and coming up with different ways of learning math or activities or science, experiments. That's my wheelhouse. That's where I shine. However, once school is over and they're like, hey, mom, let's play this game or activity or whatever, pretend, I'll play it. But sometimes like, I don't know what to do, or I need to clean, or I need to cook, or I need to clean up after homeschooling and prepare tomorrow's things. So sometimes it's everyday adult things that get in the way. I spoke to you last summer. It was an event with my kids where they had asked me to come play with them with their water soakers. But we were in between, we had just had lunch, and in about an hour or two, we were going to get ready to go play tennis. They had tennis classes. And I kept saying, no, it's not the right time. I have to clean up. And then I washed all the dishes. I cleaned up the kitchen. They're like, Mom, can you come now? I was like, no, I don't want to wet my hair. No, I don't want to change into my bathing suit. No, 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 no. Right? There were so many reasons why. I had so many ready. And then at one point, I said something in my head that I've been practicing to say, because when I say no, I ask myself, like, is this a real no? And a real no is like, I really need to, well, yeah, now that I say it out loud, a real no is like, I want to clean up after dinner or lunch. But sometimes that's not a real no. And now that I say it out loud, because it can wait, right? But we think in our minds that it's a real no. But here's the phrase that I say to myself after I hear myself say no. Can I join them in their world right now rather than they join my world, right? Can I join their world? And when I say that in my head, can I join their world? It reminds me that joining their world will really help me in this moment. Because oftentimes I'm not being playful or I don't feel like playing with them because I have adult things in my head. And when I have adult things, I'm not going to be present. And so I'm not as playful. I might not show up in the same way. If my younger child, my just turned 6-year-old, is having a moment, it's harder for me to show up in a playful way. And so I went to play with the water soakers with them in the end last summer. And it led to me just starting to cry. I came inside the house with my husband. I was like, I had a lot of fun. And I just started sobbing. And it just reminded me that I didn't do it enough. And a couple nights ago, my 6-year-old I was helping him in the bath. He was actually, in the shower. And he was doing something. He was showing me something that he was like drawing on the wall with soap on his finger. And he's like, look at this. And then he's giving me a whole story. And guess what? I was missing that moment. I did not join him in his world because as he's saying, Mommy, look at this. And then when I drew this, and then when that happens, did you know that this, it's like a whole story. I don't remember the whole story, but he was explaining something to me. And I don't know the whole story because I really wasn't listening very well. I was busy trying to wash him, and him drawing on the shower wall was making him move a certain way. And I kept saying, turn towards me, turn towards me. I can't reach you. Can you come closer to me? Turn towards me. And I missed the story. And then at one point, I caught myself saying no and getting frustrated. And I said in my head, join him in his world. And I said, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I didn't hear what you were saying because I was really trying to wash you quickly. I want to get you to bed. It's a little later than usual. We had soccer tonight. I'm sorry. I wasn't listening the way that I want to. Can you repeat that to me? And then he repeated it and explained to me that he was trying to show me like a kind of like a story that he had built out in his head. And he was like building the characters and drawing them with soap on his fingers and drawing it on the window. And I missed it. I had missed it because I was so busy being stuck in my adult world. And all of this reminded me of a quote from Tina Payne Bryson, who's the author of The Way of Play. I interviewed her. The link is going to be in the show notes if you missed that interview on February 10th, I believe. But she said, when we don't feel playful, it's actually a sign we probably need it more than ever. And so let's use this together collectively as parents. You come home from work, you are exhausted, and you just want to disconnect. But guess what? You have a child or two kids that want to spend time with you. It's not even about the play, it's about connecting with you. You might have a partner who wants to connect with you too. Maybe all of that is overwhelming. But if you could join them in their world, set the timer if you have to. 10 minutes is my challenge to you. When you catch yourself saying no, what can you say yes to join them in their world? Put the phone to the side, turn the TV off, sit down and join them in their world. I guarantee you, well, maybe not the first time, but it will happen. And every time I said yes to my kids, an intentional yes to play with them, or an intentional reminder in my mind to join them in their world, right? Like my son in the shower didn't want me to play with him. He wanted me to be playful. I needed to show up as the playful parent, but I wasn't doing it because I was the busy parent. And whenever I have been mindful of doing this, especially when they were young, I have realized after the fact how much I needed this because something was on my mind. I was too busy, too stressed, too worried about something that I couldn't show up for them. And by playing with them or being playful, I was able to let go of that thing that was stuck on my mind for about 10 minutes. And it felt good. And so if you can try that this week, catch yourself saying no to your child, or I don't feel like it, not now. Do something, even bring yourself outside if you can. I know that it's summer now in many places and that it might be too hot to do certain things. Even if it's a short walk in the morning or in the evening when it gets colder. During the day, sitting with them as they play pretend. Play something that you enjoy. Take out the figurines that you like or Play-Doh or whatever you have. Magnetic tiles, building blocks, whatever it is. But join them in their world. In my conversation with Tina, she reminded me that there are many ways that we can be playful in a day. And whenever I've given this information to members of the Reflective Parent Club or even to private clients that I have that I work with, it has helped them so much. But the first reaction to anyone that I say you should try being a bit more playful with your child, the first reaction is, "Phew, I don't have the energy for that." It's always the reaction from parents. And I get it because if I were to receive that as information, it's like, I already have enough to do. I don't have time or the energy to be playful right now. But the outcome of parents trying to be playful has always been consistently that made it much easier. And so I consumed less energy trying to get my child to get dressed because I was playful. And so here are 3 tips from Tina Payne Bryson. She said to be more playful, a parent can narrate a story. And guess what? The story doesn't have to make sense. It can be completely disconnected. So it can be about 3 squirrels that get in trouble and give them names, whatever names. If you like sports, think of different players that you like. Be playful in moments that are really hard for you as a parent. So getting a child ready in the morning, Like Tina reminded us, child doesn't want to get dressed. Say, okay, put on your socks, and I'm going to tell you what happened to the three squirrels. Because when they ran up the tree, the really mean squirrel was there. Or there was the big, fantastic, colorful bird that happened to be there. And you'll never guess what that big, fantastic, colorful bird said to the squirrels. think about think about it on the spot. There's no wrong way to do this. And I think that sometimes as parents, we get into our heads a little bit too much, and it has to be perfect or it's nothing. Right? And so I don't know how to tell a story. I'm not going to tell a story. But our kids don't care. By hearing us, they become captivated. And we say, okay, hurry up, put on your sock. And I'm going to tell you what happened. That one squirrel, he fell off the tree and he was holding on by one little paw. And you'll never guess who came and helped him. Okay, put on your pants now. And so you slowly make your way through the morning by being playful. And it will make things feel easier rather than saying something like, get dressed, hurry up, get dressed, we're going to be late. Can you just put on your pants? Come on. No, don't put your pants on your head. You just wasted 2 minutes. Get dressed. I've been there. And it brings nothing. It doesn't help with anything because we're getting frustrated, we're dysregulating our child. They're not feeling connected to us. Guess what? They're not going to cooperate. So narrating a story whenever you can, even at dinner time, my husband and I did that too. For a long time, our kids were having trouble staying seated at the table. And so we got stuck in the cycle of getting mad at them. But all we needed to do was really make it playful. And so we started telling a story. The stories went like this. Let's say I or my husband started. Once upon a time, there was a bear in the forest. And then next, and we would pass it on to the kid. And we were usually sitting in between the kids. And the next kid would say, and then a big rock came and squashed the bear, the end. Or my boys would say, and then Superman or any other superhero, which I can't think of now, came and destroyed everything, the end. So no matter what my husband and I said, it always ended up finishing with the next kid. And at first, as a parent, that was annoying. It was annoying because we were like, well, can you continue the story? Why aren't you creative? Think of something. We gave you 3 characters. And we would say things like this to them, like, okay, think about what can happen with the next character, or bring in the villain. Or no, actually, don't bring in the villain because they're going to ruin everything. Think of a challenge. But my kids were young. They didn't care about a challenge. We cared about creating the perfect story arc. We're so boring. They didn't care about creating the perfect story arc. They cared about destroying the world with an asteroid or a big rock or Superman taking over the world or whatever it was. And they laughed every single time they did it. They cracked up. Not us, because we were busy trying to create a good story. And so we have to remind ourselves to join their world. We need to bring ourselves into our kids' world. That is your challenge of the week. We are going to be talking about that this week inside the Reflective Parent Club. I'm recording this and publishing this on Monday because I'm late. But Tuesday, we will have a call at 12 p.m. Eastern and again at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we are going to be talking about what play looked like for us growing up, just a little bit, what playfulness is, how we'd like to show up for our children, what are our expectations, because sometimes we set these unrealistic expectations. For example, for me, it would be an unrealistic expectation for me to show up playful every single day. I am not that way naturally, and that's okay. But I can be a bit more mindful of showing up intentionally in some moments, like I did with my son when he was taking a shower. And so we are going to dig into the what leads to us not being playful. Just to finish off those 3 points that I just realized I did not finish by Tina Payne Bryson, she talks about narrating a story using humor. So like instead of saying like, clean your room, can you clean your room? Oh my gosh, clean your room, it's a disaster. You walk in and you say, holy moly, was there a tornado in your house? In this room? Sorry, not your house. What happened here? Like thinking of something that brings that moment into humor. Because again, we're bringing them into our world and lecturing them and getting mad at them in a way that we do with ourselves and maybe our bosses or managers do. And the third one is being goofy with our voice and our movement sometimes. We don't realize sometimes, like, just by using a different voice, our kids might get interested or excited. And so if we're trying to get them to bed and we're like, brush your teeth, we can try a different funny voice that they think is funny. And then it might regulate them enough. That is the whole point. When we are yelling at them, we're dysregulating them. And so if we can regulate them just enough to settle down their nervous system, their frontal lobe will reactivate and they'll be able to listen to us and follow instructions and, join us and do whatever needs to be done, but not if we're getting mad at them and yelling. And so let's collectively remind ourselves of the importance of being playful and playing with our kid. Like I said, or maybe I didn't. I don't remember if I said this in the podcast yet, or if I just published that on Instagram, but I put a poll on Instagram and 68% don't enjoy playing pretend play. So number one, the reason why I wanted to ask that question is because you are not alone. If you are one of that 68%, you are not alone. And so there's no point in feeling guilty and shameful and shame yourself and feeling like you're a bad parent because you don't like pretend play. Now, does it mean that you will never play pretend play with your kids? No. But when can you show up? When can you join their world? That is the challenge I'm offering you this week. If you want to dig deeper into that, join the club, the Reflective Parent Club. The link is in the show notes. And there is also a discount for you for the podcast in the show notes. I want to give you a small discount so that you could, just see it. First of all, you get 7 days for free, but also for 3 months, I want you to see the difference that parents in our club have noticed. It really makes a difference to be able to speak to somebody every single week and let out all those struggles that you're having and those thoughts, mostly the thoughts, because sometimes we think we're not doing well and we're doing better than we are. Or sometimes we think we messed something up and in the end, it wasn't that bad. But if we're left alone, we turn that into something bigger. And I also want to mention a little something to dads. I'm going to post a study in the show notes called Quality and Quantity, a study of father-toddler rough and tumble play. This is a study from the Journal of Child and Family Studies in 2021, and it reminds us that dads who engage in rough and tumble play, right? Like roughhousing with your child, like throwing them and, playing like wrestling on the floor. All of this is like risky play. And dads who did that saw or had more socially, emotionally mature kids. And so don't forget that playfulness looks very different for all of us, not just individually, but even between moms and dads. And that's okay. But it's the collectiveness of this, right? If moms could be playful in their own way, or dads, or if there are 2 moms in the house, maybe you each have your own way of being playful, or 2 dads, that's okay. You will each have your own way of being playful with your child. But remember the importance of play in a child's life. It supports their development, it helps them feel more connected to us, and helps them learn how to regulate their emotions. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please take a moment to rate the podcast or review it. Send me an email if you want to say hi at info@kirstnon.com. And also, if you want to meet with me for a free 15-minute call on Zoom, do that. Send me an email and let me know. Or maybe I will see you inside the Reflective Parent Club. I hope you have a wonderful week. I will see you next Monday. Bye.